been like 3 Fridays in a row that we have not made a video. So first and foremost, we're sorry. We miss you guys. But we're really excited because we've got so much stuff going on right now. For the starters, I was in Japan for like 2.5 weeks. Sandra went down to LA to pick up some stuff for a car that we're building for touring. She's been going absolutely crazy lately, putting the Cressida together. Dylan's been filming a whole bunch of stuff, just building up a backlog of content. Ruboy's been putting together a build for summer touring. And then obviously we're just getting ready for summer touring, and we're getting ready for our pop-up shop, because this time of year is, like, by long and far the busiest time of the year. And Dylan and I are getting the G35 ready to get it out to another drift event. So yeah, like, last few weeks have been absolutely crazy for us. But the good news is we've got so much content backlog now that it's going to be a really good end to the summer, and we've got so much cool stuff to share with you guys as we go into the fall. Yeah, like I said, we've been super busy, and I was in Japan for 2.5 weeks, and what that means is I filmed a bunch of stuff. But this time, being the second time I'd been to the country, things were a little bit different. If you've been following our channel for a while and you've watched the original Alex in Japan series, you'll remember it was 9 videos in January of 2023 where me and my buddies went to Japan, and basically the whole trip was just car stuff. This time it's a bit different because I went with my wife, and a few of our other friends were there at the same time, and we connected with them around the halfway point of the trip. But the purpose of this trip was not just to do car things the whole time. It was to do lots of lifestyle and culture stuff, food stuff, tourism stuff, and then I managed to sneak, you know, some car stuff in around in the edges, because how could I go to Japan and not do that? Yeah, so we flew Japan Airlines, which was a real fun experience. Amazing airline, really nice planes, but they were old, and they had these like hilarious, like funny little remote control, like Wii looking remote things with buttons that we were messing with the whole flight. Got some Japanese beers on the flight, and managed to sleep for half of it. Showed up in Japan. What was cool is, you know, we split up from Paul there. Rebecca and I, my wife, we went and picked up a rental car while Paul hopped on a plane to go to Osaka, where we'd end up meeting him later. And yeah, we did Toyota Rent-A-Car again and got our trusty Toyota Roomie. And I was super stoked to be back behind the wheel of a hilarious little K-van thing. Back in our last trip, we loved the Roomie, and this time around it was a great car to have as our companion again. But yeah, after saying goodbye to Paul and going and picking up the Roomie, we went to Conveyor Belt Sushi Place as our first stop, because that's what you do when you get there, I think. And yeah, we had a nice dinner, and then we headed to just like a cheap hotel in Chiba just to crash for the night. Next day we woke up, and I was planning on going and hitting some shops, and while we were driving, I went past this dealership that had all of these like drift cars parked out front of it. So I hucked a U-turn, pulled in, and ended up having like a super fun time at this dealership called Frontier Next that I'd never actually heard about before. And yeah, they had these like JZX90s and some like cool like Kyusha cars out front. The owner came out, and she was like so accommodating. She like brought Rebecca and I like some bottles of tea. And then she showed us that she had this like 1J swapped like D1 Light style S13, which was so rad. And yeah, we got a photo with her and talked about drifting and cars and like what we were doing in Japan. And she was just like so stoked that, you know, that we like just stopped and came by and introduced ourselves. So yeah, that was a ton of fun. But yeah, and then we were off to Hakone, an amazingly beautiful place. It's like in the mountains, by the ocean, incredible views, hot springs. Like, it's exactly what you think of when you think of like the nature side of Japan. And yeah, we stayed at this like crazy little hotel, like traditional Japanese ryokan with like the tatami mats on the floors, paper walls. But the really cool part was our room had this view of the mountains, and out on the patio was a private hot spring fed bath, which was like the coolest and most relaxing experience. Again, such a difference from like the first time that I went to Japan. It was like actually staying at a nice hotel instead of like a bunch of like cheap little dumps, and just spending time in Hakone for a couple days before like really getting after it and going to the other cities. So yeah, after a couple of days just like bumming about Hakone and just checking out the natural beauty of it all, we decided it was time to drive to Nagoya, and we went to Hakone Turnpike, and that's really where kind of this first part of the video picks up. So yeah, that's this footage you're about to see. First stop here is a absolute classic A86 tuning shop, repair shop, parts store called Noby Booth. I've loved A86s and AW11 MR2s for a long time, so this shop has tons of lore, and I like looking at what I can see right now. There's like a whole bunch of cool 86s in different setups. I'm just gonna get to and start filming what I see there and ask the guys inside the shop if I'm allowed to. Alright, Noby Booth was super cool. When you see a shop like that, it looks like a window into the past. Like it's totally just frozen in the 90s when like the 90s tuning culture on 80s Japanese cars was at its peak, and that's exactly where that shop is just stuck in a perfect way. Like old trophies, old pictures, like just like tons of new old stock car parts that you'll never see anywhere else ever again. But yeah, we've driven deeper into Nagoya now, and I've pulled up to one of my favorite dealerships and tuning shops here, which is Wing 21. And it's funny, last time I was here was a year and a half ago on my last trip, and I actually didn't film anything here because it was like the middle of the night, the place was closed, and there was no lights. And once again, I've come here, and it turns out they are closed today. Today is their regular holiday. So yeah, I will show you guys some of the cool stuff that's in their inventory from outside of the street, but unfortunately it doesn't look like I'm gonna be walking around in there because I'm just not gonna trespass. That would be rude. Alright, last spot of the day here in Nagoya is Liberty Walk. Now I came here last time that I was in Nagoya as well, but the nature of their business is always changing. They're always building new cars, so I'm super excited to see what they've got going on. Liberty Walk is an interesting brand because I feel like, you know, they kind of came on the scene around the same time that I was becoming a car enthusiast. So like the whole time I've loved cars, Liberty Walk has been one of those brands that we've just seen a ton of. We've seen them explode, we've seen their popularity grow, we've seen them become trendy, we've seen them stop being trendy. And, you know, I think for the most part, I'm not really into supercars. I never have been, but you do have to admit it's pretty crazy to like cut up a supercar and put a wide body on it. And they really were like the first company to do that. And over these last few years, they've just been upping the ante of what they can get away with. And some people love it, some people hate it. I think what's super cool about Liberty Walk is similar to kind of the way I love all different types of Japanese car culture. These guys build all sorts of different stuff. They've got Kaido racers, they've got supercars, they've got, you know, Japanese sports cars, they've got 90s stuff, 2000 stuff, brand new stuff, and then obviously like all the 70s and 80s cars that they've turned into Kaido racers. And they also have a really deep appreciation for all sorts of different other Japanese tuning companies. I mean, even one of the head guys has an RWB Porsche. Like, how crazy is that? Like, you own a company that makes wide body kits for cars and you still go and get your Porsche wide bodied by somebody else? I don't know. We don't really see that anywhere else. So yeah, Liberty Walk is super cool. I'm just gonna walk around with the camera and show you guys what I see here. And then yeah, after that, gonna head to the hotel and walk around Nagoya for a little bit. So once again, another unplanned, serendipitous moment visiting a shop in Japan. Obviously, I was at Liberty Walk with Paul and Harrison back in 2023 in January when we were here last time. And since then, I guess the video that we made about that visit got back to them, and Toshi-san from Liberty Walk actually recognized me from that video and was like, hey, do you want to hop in the Prius with me and drive 5 minutes to our secret showroom where they keep the F40, a couple different of the Ferraris, a bunch of their Kaido racers, and even their Liberty Walk Murcielago Lamborghini drift car. And man, that was an unbelievable experience. I mean, like I think in the last video I really made a comment about how it's just kind of Liberty Walk town here, and that couldn't be more true. Like they have 4 locations all within like this area here. Workshops, showrooms, storefronts, and then secret showroom, which is just too cool, filled with all of that different, I don't know, trinketry. And yeah, I mean, thank you Liberty Walk for another incredible experience here in Nagoya. It really is like, when I come to Nagoya, the highlight is seeing all of the cool stuff that Liberty Walk is doing, and this time just totally took the cake. I mean, being able to sit in the F40 and see all of those different cars at that shop. Now we're just gonna head back to the hotel, and then yeah, that's kind of it for this part of the trip. I mean, we're gonna head to the hotel in Nagoya here, crash, and then my wife and I are heading to Kyoto for a few days, and then Osaka for a few days, where we're gonna reconnect with Paul and see everything that he's gotten up to. And then all of us are gonna drive back to Tokyo. But probably the next time I'm gonna pick this camera up is gonna be in Tokyo, but who knows, maybe something super cool will happen in Osaka or Kyoto. So yeah, thank you guys for watching so far, and yeah, it'll probably be a part 2, so catch you in that one.